You're not going to be good at the beginning. You're going to suck. I tried to start a business when I was 11.
One life lesson I'm going to tell you. All right. We are back on Revealing Real Estate, and I am going to bring a non-conventional guest on the show today. For the reason I say non-conventional is the fact of this gentleman's age. This guy, I really like his mindset where he is at a very early part of his career. He's not even old enough to even start his own corporation yet, but when he does, I can see such a bright future. I want to welcome this gentleman, Matthew Gomez, to the show. And the reason I want to have him on the show is that Matthew specializes in elevating specifically YouTube channels and marketing and branding many different businesses throughout his early career. So Matt, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, it's a pleasure. A pleasure is mine. Matt, I just want to talk a little bit about your story first and foremost, because I think stories are very important. You just graduated high school, just literally.
Yeah, literally over summer. So I was able to skip all of grade 12. And I still graduated with a business tourism, which is just like a certificate. And then I also have a STEAM certificate, which is just my science, technology, engineering, arts, math. It's just more advanced.
Yeah, good for you, man. And that's awesome. That's awesome. Are you now planning on continuing your education through universities or colleges?
So this is a question I get very often, and it's still up for debate in my own head. I'm looking not to. I learn better on my own. The way the education system is, I just don't think it benefits me. Whenever there's something I want to learn, I'll spend like 12 hours that day learning it, and I get through content faster than the school system. Well, they drag out what would take me 2 hours on my own in 2 weeks, right? But that being said, a university degree is just a piece of paper that puts your name on something, really. So in terms of, a reputation and people believing you, being 17 is already enough of a challenge. And then being a young guy, no secondary education is going to be a challenge. But I have quite a belt of experience, work experience and whatnot. And I know some interesting people like yourself. So it's hard to do, but depending on where this year ends, we're going to see. I'm going to apply. I'm going to apply to all the business schools in Ontario. Depends on where this year goes.
Yeah, and I think that'll be important for you just to get some knowledge base in regarding becoming an entrepreneur and starting your own business. I people that follow me know and understand that I'm such a huge, big believer in making sure, and I instill this within my kids, is that it doesn't matter what you do within your life, as long as you're passionate and love what you do, drive and go get experience from somebody. And learn from them, even if you have to do it for free at the beginning, because you're going to gain that experience and that knowledge base in any business that you do. And yes, school is going to teach you to a degree of what you want to learn. And I do believe in the education system, but I also believe that if somebody truly really wants to be successful in their life, is actually working for yourself and becoming an entrepreneur. And I want my kids to make sure that whatever they do within their life is that they enjoy what they do, but also make sure that they convert it and make it into a business. And businesses are not for everybody. And it's got to be within you, because there's a lot of sacrifice that comes with it. There's a lot of investment that gets involved when making businesses. And one of the reasons I wanted to have you on this show is because I liked your perseverance at first. I liked your hustle. I liked the fact that you didn't give up. And I want to talk about that story and what it takes for somebody. And I can see such a bright future in you, because it takes that ambition to say, hey, how many rejections am I going to get? How many no's am I going to face before I really literally give up? And you didn't give up on me. And what really entailed me to say is, you know what? I want to sit down with this guy is because I said 3 no's to him already, and he still persisted on making sure that he sat down with me. And I like that about you, Matt. So tell me a little bit about your background, how you ended up reaching out to me, and how me and you just came to intuition here to sit down and have this conversation.
Enjoying this episode? Subscribe to our channel and leave us a comment down below to let us know what you want to learn next.
In terms of marketing background, I haven't been in the marketing game for too long. Actually working about 6 months now. I started with a friend of yours. Some of you guys may know Vince Gaetano.
Yep.
So
I do a Tuesday Revealing Real Estate show on Instagram with him. And he's been on my podcast numerous times. Yeah.
Yeah, great guy. Check out his channel. Okay.
Yeah. Nice plug.
Sorry, I had to plug
It's
it
okay.
in.
No, it's all good. Vince is a good friend of mine, so we're all good.
Vince channel. So I started with him. I did my co-op there in grade 11. So I just started with my co-op there, and then my co-op moved into office pet position. So I was just kind of doing this paperwork, throwing out the garbage and whatnot.
Yeah.
And then I saw an opportunity. He already was big on Instagram, and I took his live podcast, which he did on Thursdays, and then I took it and I repurposed it to YouTube as a long form content. And at first, it was slow, right, with anything, and I was like, I didn't really know what I was doing. But with time, and then I was spending 40 hours a day on YouTube. How do you do this? How do you do that? How do you do this, right? And
Listening
then
to podcasts, reading some books, really
Yeah.
making sure that you're focused into gaining as much information on that subject as possible.
yeah, I mean, the thing again, going back to the school, is there's so much information on the internet, right? So
Yes.
it's not a lack of education. I think it's just a lack of ambition and the will to do it. Like, I know that whether I go to university or not, I'm not gonna be stressing for money. Like, I'm gonna be putting in the work, and I'm gonna put in whatever it needs. Like, even when I was in school, go back to school for a second, I'll come back to marketing.
Yeah.
Like in grade 10 was like COVID years kind of thing. So the school was not a challenge. It was some online, some in person. But on top of my 30 hours of school a week and my homework, I was still working 55 hours a week. So I was working at a bakery and I was working at a grocery store. And the hours I was putting in, like, this was a brand new bakery as well. So I stepped into, I have some baking experience, but just like
Mhm.
hobbies. Like, I made some weird cakes.
Mm-hmm.
If I edit this, I'll pop some up on screen
Yeah,
so
yeah,
everyone
yeah.
can see at home. It's kind of funny, but I'll pop them up so you guys can see. So then, like, through a friend of a friend, so a lot of businesses who you know as well, but through a friend of a friend, they opened a bakery. So I started working there, and I kind of did the job of 3 people. I did pastry chef, I did like front desk and everything, and then I did dishwasher and cleaning and everything. So I would
Right.
start in the morning, like 5:30, 6 a.m. I'd do all the baking, and then noon I'd go out to the front, and then like around 5, 6 I'd go back to the back, and I ended up putting in 12 to 16 hour days on my weekends. So there it goes back to the sacrifice, right? You gotta sacrifice
Yeah,
something.
you weren't going out spending your money with your
No.
friends, drinking and
Yeah.
doing stupid things as young 17-year-olds would do.
I think
you-
my expenses for the month, sorry to cut you off,
Yeah.
were like $30. Like, I'd get food once if I was lucky. I would just work every day, all day. If I was not at work, at school,
And that's a big sacrifice, and that's the drive that sometimes you're going to need to become successful. A lot of people don't know me. When I started in the business, I started in the catering business as a 17-year-old kid. But
Oh,
I had
really?
my own I had
Yeah.
my own coffee truck at the time, and
No way.
I would service construction sites and sell Italian veal sandwiches and pops and beef patties and honey buns.
At the age of
At
17?
the age of 17, man. Yeah. And I
Yeah.
started my own little catering business, serving food to different sites, to construction workers that when they needed their break, I was there to serve them their coffee and whatever meals they needed. And I stayed in that business. I ended up building about 8 or 9 coffee trucks at the
Wow.
time. I had drivers that ended up renting their, and I would set up the routes for them. I was the guy that would set up the routes, and then they would pay me their monthly rental income from it. So I always had this young ambition to become my own boss, because I was very difficult for me to take orders from people. I just wanted to do what I wanted to do when I wanted to do it. I was just built within me. My mom taught me very early on within my age, because she also had a cleaning business that helped me learn a lot about becoming a business owner. And your story and your drive is there's a lot of similarities to my life. When I started out, and I remember as a kid, man, I was very hungry and I was very ambitious, and I wanted to succeed, and I wanted to make a lot of money, and I've learned so much through the process, and I'm hoping that we're willing to share this information for somebody who's 17 years old right now, a little confused within their life, or don't know what to do. I truly feel just making an effort into really understanding what you really want and what your true passions are is you can learn it and study it yourself. Like when I wanted to be a real estate agent and I wanted to grow my team, because I always thought on a very big scale. I didn't want to stay just one individual agent. I wanted to grow myself. I wanted to be recognized within the community. I wanted to be known as a top real estate team or agent within a certain marketplace within my own community, and then expand from there. I always visualized that certain things that really came to intuition many years later down the road, just because I really believed in what I wanted to achieve, and then I achieved it. There's so many different possibilities through that process. And the point I'm trying to make to is that, and for young individuals listening to this show, is that you just got to really go out there and make an effort to believe that you had the capabilities of doing it, stepping outside the box, not being afraid to reach out to somebody, not making those efforts to go out there and get rejected, and hear the no's, and get the doors closed on in your face, and build from that is really encouraging, and really signs to prove people wrong that your generation is still the same generation that we came from, where you guys are really kind of, placed in the stigmatization, where you're just kind of absorbed with all this social media and YouTube and being on your iPads all the time. Is that there are individuals out there that are very still ambitious like yourself, right?
Yeah.
You know where I'm getting at with this?
I know what you're getting at. And with like the iPads and stuff, a lot of kids my age are just, they go to school, they go to home, they play video games for 8 hours, and I was been there, like in COVID, like grade 9, from grade 9 to grade 10, grade 9, I would fully online school. I'd be playing like Rocket League for like 14 hours a day. But even when I was playing Rocket League, arguably wasting my time in the game, I think they took it out of the game right now. I haven't played in so long. But there was actually a way to trade like in-game items with people.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so I was trade this for that, and I traded my way up, and I had about 200,000 credits worth of items in my inventory, which is a lot. And I ended up selling my account, which you're not supposed to do.
Anyways, it's okay. You made it a business deal. It's okay. It's all good.
I got $1,000 for it.
Oh, wow.
So
wow.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, video games are kind of a waste of time, but I thought that was funny.
That is funny.
And I've always tried to do things like in elementary school. I'd do like a snack shack, so I'd go to like the local like bulk stores, and we'd sell like, well, I did it with the school of fundraising, so not for me, but we made like $4,000 in like a year. So our like overnight trip before it got canceled by COVID, it was like basically free. Like it was like $30 a person instead of like $150. So I've always been out there trying to make money. But for the people at home, like what you're saying is like, you don't need to know how to do everything right now and whatnot, but you can know. It's like the limited people think, oh, I don't know how, and I'll never know how. It's like, if you don't know how, whatever you don't know how to do, literally Google it. Like you Google it, and you'll just get the snowball. Because once you learn the basics, like people procrastinate. Like if you want to learn
imagine with AI too as well, with Chat GPT.
I was gonna mention that if Chat GPT, you can ask it a question, it will explain it in full detail, and then it'll prompt you questions off the questions you just asked it to give you more detail. Like you can ask it one question, and it'll create questions based off that question, you can just go through. There's so many free things. Like if you want to learn marketing, you want to learn sales, there's a guy on YouTube, very popular, Alex Hormozi. He has a free marketing and sales courses on his website, right? Which is, I guess, a promotion to him, but he's big enough, he doesn't need it. But there's so much value in his content, so much value on YouTube content. And if you want to become a real estate agent, watch podcasts like these. There's
you want to be a YouTuber, there's different ways of learning how to become a YouTuber.
Exactly.
And I don't even put myself right now in the real estate game as much as I am in the marketing, branding scenario within my life too as well. And, when I wanted to become or learn how to grow a team, I read back then we had to read books.
Yeah.
So back then I got all the books. I went to the library. Every time I went on a holiday or something like that, I read a book on growing my team or any ways to continue growing my brand within real estate. And learning the difference between marketing and branding and what that does for you. And that was allowing me to learn and to grow and run community events so that I can build a brand within a community that is recognized in a specific industry. And that's what I wanted to achieve. So I had to really sit down and learn it for myself, because at the end of the day, school is only going to teach you so much, right? The experience, the involvement, once you're in it, is very important. And I want to talk about that now. And I want to get into kind of the meats and bones of you started in a co-op. You said you were with Vince Gaetano. He brought you inside there. Vince is very active on Instagram. He's very active on YouTube right now. Yep. Vince came from the media sector. He was running his own kind of show on City 24.
19 years he was on there.
He was 19 years on there. Yeah, Hot Properties at the time, and then now he just branched off to social media. I think his kid is pretty big. Big
Snarky Marky.
Snarky Marky.
He's like 4.5 million followers on TikTok.
Yeah, man. So
80 something thousand on YouTube. Big. He's
doing really well. So Vince started to channel his mindset towards the social side of things as we have. Now Vince started in to do these short reels and going onto YouTube. So what you did was you started, and Vince hired you to run his YouTube channel basically. Can you tell us where Vince started and where he ended up with you after how many months?
Yeah, so I've been working with him for 6 months now. Where he started, and this is for anyone watching at home that wants to be an entrepreneur or whatnot, is there's not always going to be opportunities presented to you. You have to make your own, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, like I said, I started in co-op, and co-op you only have to do an hour and a half, or maybe 2 hours, or something like that.
Something like that, yeah. Twice a week or something like that.
No, so every day, right? Because it was a 2-credit co-op, so it'd be 1 hour, 50 minutes. Like you had to do 2 hours every day.
Yeah.
I went there from 1 to 5, right? So I did double what I had to do for free. Like I was just in his office, just doing double on top of my work and everything, just providing more value, right? Because I didn't have any skills I wanted to learn. I was there for double what I had to be there every day. Like I was there for 4 hours, 20 hours a week, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then obviously Vince saw that because I was putting in the work. And then Vince is like, let me offer you a job. He didn't really have a need for me because I didn't have any skills at the time, which is a big thing. Build your skills, right? I believe in skills more than skills and education kind of go hand in hand. But people with like degrees and all this, but they don't have like the hard skills. Like if I was marketing in a marketing degree for 4 years compared to actually just doing what I've been doing for the past 6 months, like there's different levels to it, right? Like
of course,
actually doing it.
Yeah, but anyways, you're gonna evolve and you're gonna grow and you're gonna learn so many different things with definitely meeting so many different people.
To get to the point on Vince's content, I was just doing like office pet duties, throwing out the garbage, stamping the paperwork. And then I saw his content one day and he's posting on Instagram. And I look at his YouTube channel. I'm like, why isn't he posting this on YouTube, right? He has a camera. He can film it. He's already spending all the time just using Instagram. Like, repurpose it to YouTube. And at the time, he had 111 subscribers. So he's at 111 subscribers. He posted a little bit of content, but it wasn't the best like quality content. So I'm like, okay, let me take it to YouTube, right? And I didn't go out and say, pay me $2,000 and I'll do this for YouTube. I'm like, hey, Vince, let me try something for free, right?
Yeah.
It's paying me 8 hours.
Big word, guys, out there for free. And he made the initiative to go out there and do something for free at first to create his own opportunities and learn and gain some experience for himself and what he wanted to do.
I think
that's awesome.
That's an important part because a lot of people think they're entitled to being paid for something they don't know how to do.
Correct.
Right? Like,
yes.
Oh, why am I not getting paid $25 an hour to do this marketing? Because you're worth like $5 an hour, right? Mm-hmm. Which is, I worked 8 hours. I got paid and worked for 8 hours of work, but I was doing 40, 60, whatever it was at the time to do the research I need to do. And it just snowballed. My first video got 100 views, gained a couple of subscribers. My second video was like 110. Third, we got 150. Fourth, we got like 500. Fifth, we hit like 1,000. And then I posted one video and it was a clickbait video, and I said realtors are all lying to you, which
I didn't like that one. You didn't like that one too much. That one threw me off a little bit on that one. I'm like,
no, it was a questionable thumbnail, but I know what I was doing. But Vince told you like his account got hacked or something.
Yeah.
I'm like, he could have just said it was me, but it was clickbait, right? And then once you in the video, you can see it. But that video got like 9,000 views, right? So it was like boom, 100, 9,000, right? So it can just jump like that. And that's just the power of just one lucky thumbnail that clicked, right? And then he's like, oh, there's actually opportunity here. Then we got the ball rolling. I was just repurposing his vertical content, and I was just putting a background and uploading it. Then we had a camera. We started filming like full screen. Then we got lighting, right? And we still haven't invested too much into it now, but as it grows, we're reinvesting back into it. And now I'd have to check. I'll pop it up on the screen if I again. I think it's about 2,700 subscribers, and we've done over 250,000 views in the past 6 months.
That's pretty good. From the past 6 months, from 100 subscribers to over 2,700 subscribers right now.
So I'm not taking full credit for that.
No,
in
of
case
course.
Vince is watching. this.
Yeah, Vince.
He has good content. He knows how to talk. in
Yeah,
some
and,
way.
and he's providing some free, good educational pieces too as
Yeah,
well.
yeah.
And he's doing a great job of it. But putting little things together definitely, or knowing how to package it together, and throwing it out there is very important. I came from a very old school style of doing things. I've been around for 20 years now, but back then social media when I was around, wasn't around, and we didn't deal with a lot of this digital marketing campaigns that we currently run today. And the amount of expenses that we run towards this digital side of things has pretty much evolved. Back then, to really get your brand out and to be really recognized within the community, yes, the bus stops and the billboards were always still there and are still there, and I still believe in them, right? But the direct flyer mail was really big. If you wanted to really get out a message of who you are, or you being the area specialist within your community, there was only one way of doing it, right? That was through direct mail at the time, and direct mail was very expensive. It's costing you, between the creation of the flyer and the graphic design and Canada Post, we were depending on how many big flyer runs you wanted to run in geofarming today, it became very expensive. Nowadays, print, and we were in magazines and so forth, right? So that's how we had to become that branded agent. Today it's digital, right? Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, what is it? Pinterest? I'm not.
Pinterest is.
Yeah,
it's not for the real estate niche, but
no, I think it's more design.
If you're like a cafe,
or
like
cafe,
Starbucks has artists and whatnot.
Yeah, so I'm not really too emphasis or spend too much time on it.
But like LinkedIn for professionals, real estate, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, all that.
Yeah. And then Google's one, right? But and I think the biggest attention right now for the younger generation is YouTube. YouTube, if you look at, if I talk to my son right now, he doesn't watch regular TV. He's watching YouTube all the time. Right?
Yeah.
Nobody wants to be watching these commercials for very long. I want to be able to skip. And I think YouTube is such a huge platform that most real estate agents that are even watching this show, or people looking to build their brand, is very important, because you can do your marketing and your branding built within that platform. Our team is really big on the Instagram side of things, and Facebook and TikTok, for instance. We're putting our content on TikTok right now, and we know it's to a younger demographic, because each platform has their own kind of age demographic for sure. Facebook's a little older. Instagram's probably within midlife, between 30 to 45, and then you got TikTok, which is even below that. YouTube, I think, has evolved now to a very wide range of audiences.
It's very wide, yeah.
Very well on, right? So when I seen Vince's numbers, and I'm having this conversation with Vince at 2,700 subscribers plus, this guy's got over 250,000 views in the past 6 months. I'm like, man, what are you doing differently? And he was telling me about yourself, and then I ended up you connecting with my marketing team, and you then ended up reaching out and sending me an email, and then I'm like, hey, maybe this is not the right time, and then you're telling me why, and then you used the word free, which was a great pitch to me, right? Because I liked it. You didn't say no, and you were willing to get in there because you were trying to create your own opportunities. And the reason I wanted to have you on this is to discuss this, whether it works out or it doesn't. It's the ambition that you put into making sure that, hey, I really enjoying what I'm doing here. I really like it. From what I'm understanding is that you want to make this a business, and that you're willing to do things and make those sacrifices to make sure that you're going to do it at a very young age, so that by the time you get to 27 years old, 10 years from now, you're going to be even that much more involved within your business.
Yeah, and I think with free as well, that obviously from a business owner perspective, is it's costing you nothing, and as long as they have value to provide. And from my perspective, because I'm giving it to you for free doesn't mean I'm not getting any value out of it, right? Like, I know my work produces, so even if I do it for free for you for a month, for example, and Matthew, we still don't have the budget for this, and maybe 6 months from now it might work out. Well, it didn't work out with you, but now I have a month of posting, and I can go to another company and show them, well, this is the work I did with Vince. Mm-hmm. This channel, I just took in a month from
that's how you build a
50
business,
subscribers to 250. So what do you think I'm going to do for you, right? Like, one time it can just be a fluke. 2 times you got something going. And as you build it more and more, I can charge more and more premiums right now. Like right now, I only have Vince, so I'm not charging a lot of money. But I have this guy,
Well, it got my attention once I seen those numbers, and the proof is in the pudding. Because how many times am I going to take really a 17-year-old kid serious, right? Because most of the time you're thinking a kid, he wants to be a 17-year-old kid. Don't blame him, right? When I was 17 years old, I did a lot of stupid shit. You know what I mean? Shit that
Yeah.
I regret. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I
yeah.
wish I was involved into building my real estate business way at a way younger age. I'd be that much more farther at. I probably wouldn't even be working today. You know,
Right.
realistically.
Yeah.
And I love the mindset towards where you're going within the future, and I think it's bright, and I think you're doing really good for yourself right now.
Yeah, I appreciate that a lot. And
Forget about the financial gains
Yeah,
right
yeah,
now,
no, not
because don't
even.
look at the financial reward today.
it's
The
gonna be
financial reward will
exponential.
come. It'll be
The
exponential.
skills is what I'm trying to build today.
Correct.
The sales, the marketing, sales and marketing are the biggest things for me. Which even just reaching out to you, cold outreach, like it's sales, right? It's experience. You give me a no. Well, how can I turn this no into yes? And then we're here today, right?
Yeah.
And it's not just you. You see us talking now, but how many other people that I reach out to that all said no, right? It's just a numbers game. And for anyone at home that's trying to get started, just get started, right? Like you're not gonna be good at the beginning. You're gonna suck. Even when I talked to Vince, like my presentation,
You don't have to tell people you suck, though.
You're not gonna tell them you suck. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
But like when you post your first YouTube video, like your lighting's gonna be bad, your camera's gonna be bad, you're gonna be nervous or whatever. Post your second one, well at least your lighting's better now. You post your third one, oh you bought a new camera. You post your fourth one, you're not so nervous. You post your fifth one, now you got a YouTube proper thumbnail, and then now you're getting views, and then now the ball is rolling. And once it gets rolling, it's rolling, right? It's all about getting a little bit better every day, like 1% every day. Everyone's heard that before, right? And just get started. Like people procrastinate, and they're like, oh, they spend more time procrastinating what they're gonna do, like literally just sitting and explaining to themselves why they can't do it. If they spent 20% of that time just starting it, they'd be infinitely ahead, right? Like
That's some wonderful advice. Correct. And I couldn't agree with you more.
it's compound interest in
100%.
everything of life.
I had conversations with people all the time, and I can sit down and I can break down exactly what somebody's got to do with my entire systems that I built within my team to get from A to Z at a much quicker pace. Like, and I talk about this early on within my life, is that I wish I started with a team when I was younger. I first got into the business, because I would have learned their systems quicker. I would have learned how to evolve faster. I would have generated more sales and more business and had more cash flow. So many more different benefits than me starting with the brokers that I started with, and they put me into a desk and say, oh, here's the yellow pages, go make calls and go swim for yourself. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So when I was there, I had to learn for myself. I had to learn what I had to do as a real estate agent. So I built my education and focused in on everything. Was just, I would breathe, eat, and sleep real estate on a constant basis. And that was just my focus. You couldn't talk to me about anything else. That's one thing I know right now is real estate. I'm diverse in many different things, but that's what started me within the industry itself. And younger people that are listening to the show, and including even real estate agents, that we're going to get into a little bit on that, because I'm going to spin this after, why the importance of branding and marketing for realtors today, and the message that you're trying to portray is that you really can't do it yourself. You're in the business of branding. You have to go out there and brand yourself. But the mindset of the fact that putting that time frame into what you really want to be good at is very, very important.
Yeah, and I want to touch on one more point before we move on.
Yeah.
Life is in seasons, right? Like I'm putting in the work now. I'm working the 80 hours a week now. So when everyone else is 30 with their work-life balance, I'm on a 30-foot yacht doing whatever I want.
Right.
Right? They're 30
Yeah.
and having their balance.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not even working anymore because, again, going back to compound interest, when I was 17, 18, 19, 20, 12, whatever, I was stacking up my skills, stacking up my money, and now it just does the work for me, right? There's not a lot of things. And one of the biggest ROIs in life is investing in yourself and your skills, working for people, working with a team, not just doing it by yourself. And people think like, oh, they need money today. But if I came out and I worked for your real estate agent for free, you build connections, you learn things from new people who know stuff, right? People aren't gonna pay you to learn from them, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like all like the rich people, all these big people on Instagram, how many people reach out to them saying, oh, I'll work for you for free? It's like you're taking their time and their energy, even just for free. Even free sometimes costs them money, right?
Mm-hmm.
So people are like expecting, I want money today, I want this today. No, you got to invest in yourself, invest in your time, and get started and be ambitious and actually work hard. And don't worry about work-life balance. Obviously, take care of your health. Like go to the gym, do this and whatever to a degree. But it's in seasons, right? Like if you work hard for the next 5 months, then you're not even gonna have to work for like the next 5 years, kind of thing. If you do, like, if I think my point is coming across.
It is coming across very well, and I think that you making the initiative to show that you're willing to do things for me to prove yourself states a lot, and that's what really got my attention, because there's no way that I was going to sit down with you and start paying somebody at 17 years old without showing their results. And I know you did it for Vince, but numbers could be skewed, things could be flawed.
Yeah.
We don't know. But
Vince was already big on
what
Instagram.
I want the audience to really understand is, I'm going to look at the camera and say this. I said, do you think I'm going to hire this guy? Most likely I am right now. Why? Because his ambitions to show what he's going to be able and capable of doing for my business will pay itself off 10x. He is willing to spend and invest that time to work with me, and his investment, his value to give it to me, I will definitely make sure that he's well compensated for it at the end. And once he proves himself as the results start to show, we are then collectively going to be starting a great team. And I know that there's going to be other opportunities that he's going to be able to portray for me in the future, and I will also provide for him. And that's surrounding yourself with great people that are structured around you. And that's how I built my team, and my success is making sure that I have people that specialize and know certain things that much better than I do. Right? I have Jessica Ruffalo from our marketing, who's our marketing team director. She's amazing at posting on social media and the content and creating and coming up with new ideas. Nick, you need to do this. Nick, you need to do that. Right? And then we got client care service department. We have a team coordinator department. These are not things that I can do myself.
Yeah, the power of a team is
huge.
It's huge.
And we're all going to learn from each other.
That's a big thing right there, yeah.
Right? That's huge.
You bounce ideas off each other. The difference between one person, say like everything you're gonna fail when you do it. Say to make a light bulb, you have to fail 1,000 times. One person's gonna have to fail 1,000 times. You have 5 people. Each person's only failing like 200 times, right? Then you tell each other, and it just goes faster. Like 5 times as fast with 5 people, right? Instead of, oh, you do this, you fail yourself. You do this, you fail yourself. It's like, you do this and you failed. Your friend did this and he failed. Well, now you both know what not to do, and then you make a new decision. And you just fail less. You get it done faster. You bounce the ideas off each other. Like, having a team is probably one of the most valuable things you can ever do in business. Even if you don't directly work together, just have a networking group of, like, this guy's a real estate agent, this guy's a mortgage broker. Just bounce ideas off each other. You don't have to, like, necessarily work together, but just having that mind there and, like, having that open dialogue is extremely valuable.
I have different business partners that I don't work together on.
Exactly, yeah.
But we do a lot of business together. And that allows me to get in revenues from many different avenues, and we help them, they help us, and it's a win-win for both sides.
Exactly, and that's a big thing as well. Always win-win. Like, me coming to you, I'm not trying to take money from you, right? I'm trying to give you value, and then you give me value in return. I'm giving you more money, but I'm giving you the leads and the whatnot that's going to generate into income, and then you're giving me that value that I'm providing.
What I like the fact about what you did by reaching out, and I said, listen, I got to get you on a podcast, because I think there's a lot of people your age that need to really listen to this and understand that these are the efforts it's going to take to sit down with somebody who is successful that really doesn't need to, but you made an effort to make sure that you got in front of that person to really give him the value. And what that did is allow yourself to find that opportunity. You're looking for that opportunity, because if you're not looking for that opportunity, it's never going to be there, right? And I'm going to take this from somebody that I read on, but that red car theory, right? If I say on your way here to the podcast booth over here in Nobleton, how many red cars did you see? You wouldn't be able to tell me exactly or give me a count of how many red 23 cars there were, right? No, maybe, yeah. But if I gave you $100 for every red car that you see, and they say, hey, here's $100 for every red car that you see when you drive up here to Nobleton, I guarantee you'd be looking for that opportunity.
For sure.
Right? So that's what people need to start understanding, is that the opportunities are not just going to be there in front of you. You need to be finding those opportunities.
Yeah, you need to be looking for them.
You got to be looking for them, correct.
Yeah, you have to keep an eye. And then again, you look for opportunities, and you can make opportunities, right? You make opportunities for yourself. If you don't see any opportunities around you, then obviously there's something wrong with you. Maybe you don't have the skills you need. You don't know the people that you need to know. So go out there, go network, go learn new skills, even just work for free, spend 8 hours a day on YouTube. Okay, even if you have a full-time job, like for older people that have a full-time job and they can't spend 8 hours, spend 1 hour, because that 1 hour after a week is going to be 7 hours, right? And it might take you longer, but you're going to learn new things and you're going to make new opportunities for yourself, right? And even for anyone watching at home, like if they think, oh, this guy's dad's some like rich business guy or whatever, like everyone always tries to find excuses why they can't do it themselves.
Correct. Yeah. He's been fed with a silver spoon and
Yeah,
everything's just given to him.
yeah. Oh, yeah. You know, he knows this guy. No, like the only way I knew you is from an elementary school friend whose dad is cousins with Vince, who worked with you. So it's all the way out there. It's not like we work together. And then in terms of like my parents, my dad's a mechanic, my mom's a teacher, right? So like I'm a comfortable family. So there's like no, oh, I need money, ambition. Like there's no, I needed the drive, right? It's like I can't survive without it, right? And there's not like they know business. Like I tried to start a business when I was 11. I tried to do drop shipping. Like when I just came out, right? Like I was on Alibaba, I was on AliExpress. I was like watching all these gurus showing me their $10,000 a day. I'm like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to be rich. I put an order for 100 fidget spinners, right? I tried to get my order through. I'm like, Dad, I need a credit card. It's like, what are you doing? Like, you know, stupid. Like, they don't understand, right? So, like, people can be like, oh, it's their dad's fault, blah, blah. Like, just take responsibility and accountability. Like, I can't blame my dad. My dad doesn't know, right?
Yeah.
I made my own opportunities. I made my own ambition. Like, there's no reason. Like, I could be sleeping right now, right? Like, I graduated school a year early. Like, I could sleep every day, wake up a year from now, and I'd be in the same spot as every other teenager, right?
Mm-hmm.
But just make your own ambition. Like, there's no excuses. There's no nothing. Everyone wants to blame it on, like, outer reasons. Like, oh, this guy did this. Like, who cares what he did? Like, obviously to an extent, but the extent is way further than people think. They're like, oh, my shoelace was untied today, so I can't make $1 million. Like, they'll just anything. They'll grasp at anything, right?
Mm-hmm.
And even with making $1 million, I just want to mention this point. Again, Alex Hormozzi, I like he has this thing that you pay the ignorance debt. So however much money you want to make a year, say you want to make $1 million a year, and you're only making $50,000, right? Every year you're paying $950,000 in ignorance debt for not knowing how to make $1 million. I like that.
I like that.
Yeah, it's funny. It's a good one, but it's true if you think about it, like, right? And what you want, whatever your dream is, you're paying everything from where you are in between in ignorance debt because, frankly, you're too ignorant.
You don't know about it. You're too ignorant to know how to do it.
Yeah, to put it frankly, but you can't learn how. Like, there's nothing that's stopping you, really.
Mm-hmm.
It's all up to you.
Yes.
Yeah.
I remember when I made my first $1 million. It was
coming soon.
It's coming soon, correct. But I always knew that one day I would.
Yeah, exactly.
And
vision it.
You have to. And it's very imperative that you believe in yourself, but you have to put it out there. I do believe in a vision board. I emphasize for my children to do vision boards. Knowing what you want is very important. It doesn't matter what you want to achieve within your life. You have to really visualize that. I'm going to tell you a quick story. We're going to end off on this. I know we're getting a little longer than, and we're shooting over time. I'm
not in a rush if you want to keep going.
Yeah, no problem. But I always knew as a kid that I always wanted to have or own a piece of real estate that a developer would want to buy for me. Mm-hmm. And this is a true story. I used to ride my bike. It was called Supple Trails. It was named after a buddy of mine in high school. If he's listening to the show, Mike Supple. We used to call it Supple Trails because Mike Supple would go with his dirt bike there and just ride his bike within this plot of land. Yeah. He used to go in there and jump him. I used to take my BMX bike thinking I was cool and doing the exact same thing. And then all the kids used to meet up over there and we used to all hang out until one day we seen these scrapers come along and bulldoze our entire bike trail and everything just got removed. And one day I seen all these houses start to get developed where we used to ride our bike. And I'm like, man, look at this, right? And I was very enthused about, wow, land is where the real value is. Land is where the money is. And I always said, I want to own a piece of land that maybe one day a developer is going to come and buy from me.
I think there's a very valuable part of that lesson as well, because even some of your friends that use that same bike path, they could have looked at that and they would have been like, wow, these stupid developers, I hate developers, real estate, all the garbage, they ruined our bike trail. Instead of looking in a negative way, in your mind, it was like, I want to be that guy. I want to make that money, right? Same thing, like you see a Ferrari drive by, people are like, oh, what an ass, I don't know if I can swear on this, but whatever. Like,
Oh, you can swear.
yeah, he's like what a punk, right? Like, this guy's driving a Ferrari, especially if it's a young guy. Like, if you see me in a Ferrari and I just buy, daddy's money, lucky, whatever.
Yeah.
But it's fine. That's the way a lot of people think. It's all negative. But like, if you see that guy and like, damn, what does he know that I don't? How is he making that money that I'm not, right? Like, it's a positive thing, right? And I think that's a really good part
and
from
it
your
is a huge positive thing.
Yeah.
And I didn't look at it as a bad thing because I said, you know what, we'll find the next.
Yeah, but
bike
how many
trail.
of your friends probably did?
100%.
Yeah.
They did. Make a long story short, that land ended up coming to me.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
No way.
That land ended up coming to me, and I ended up selling to a developer. And you know, if I drive by it every day, they're still working on right now, building houses on there. But if I didn't visualize it or tell myself that this is what I want, it would have never have came to me. And I truly believe. One life lesson I'm going to tell you is believe in what you put out into the universe because it will come back to you.
I'm a big fan of that.
Yeah.
If you ask anyone I know,
I'm a huge fan of that.
My dad, my friends, my dog, whatever you want to ask. I tell them every day I'm
Power
gonna be a
of
billionaire.
attraction,
I'm
buddy.
gonna be a billionaire. I'm gonna be a billionaire. They all laugh, whatever. Who cares what other people think? As long as you believe it.
As long as you
I'm
believe
saying
it.
it. Like,
exactly.
I'm saying I'm gonna be a billionaire. There's not a smile on my face, right? Like when I say it to them, I'm gonna be a billionaire.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, like it's just over a long enough time horizon. If you keep working at it, I'm not gonna be a billionaire tomorrow. No kidding. Next year, no.
You don't know what's going to come, but one day you will.
Maybe 5, maybe 10.
Yeah.
Even if it's 50. One day I'm gonna be a billionaire.
Good for you, man.
I'm not gonna hit the grave until I have
And
$1 billion.
don't let nobody tell you differently, right? And that's what's really imperative about success is that just listen to yourself and keep yourself quiet, right? You know, my advice is making sure don't tell people your plans. Just go out there and prove what you need to do and go out there and achieve what you want to do. And, you know, I'm going to look at the opportunities that I'm going to be able to see in you because I'll tell you this much. The first job that he's going to do for me is he's going to be on the podcast. Imagine how good the video is that's going to be posted out on YouTube. So stay tuned for that. Let's see how the subscribers jump on that.
Yeah, let's see.
And we'll
Everyone
take those opportunities.
subscribe. My job's on the line. So if you're watching this, still subscribe, please.
Subscribe
Please.
just below, okay, guys?
Please.
So, but Matt, thanks for coming in. I appreciate it.
Thank
It's
you
been
for having
fun.
me.
It's been
It's
been a
pleasure.
great, and we'll look forward to doing this again in the future.
Yeah, maybe we can have a podcast in the future. We'll go more in depth on the actual marketing and strategy behind it.
Yeah,
it'll be
sounds
great.
good. Yeah. We didn't even get to that yet, but next time we will.
Next time, yeah.
Yeah, man.
Stay tuned.
Looking to buy or sell? Call a team you can trust. Don't believe me? Our Google reviews say it all. Put us on your lawn, your house will be gone. TheOPteam.com.